Hey everybody, welcome back to our GAMA Trade Show 2015 coverage. I am sitting here with Rob Doherty from White Wizard Games, and we are taking a look here at some Star Realms goodness. What are we looking at here, Rob?
So this is Star Realms. For anybody who's not familiar with it, it's a deck building game, and the whole game comes in this little tiny box you can pick up at your friendly local game store for 15 bucks. We won 4 Golden Geek Awards. We just won Game of the Year from South by Southwest, and
you guys have definitely been on fire.
It's been so people like it. You should try it. It's fun. So, and then we have expansions. Now these look like trading card booster packs, but never fear.
Don't run away.
These are mini expansions. They have a list of exactly what cards are in it on the back. It's not random. What we've done is made customizable experience here, where you can decide which expansions you want and add them, or if you want to buy them all, we like that too. This is Crisis, these 4 packs, and there are 4 different sets in Crisis. You've got bases and battleships and fleets and fortresses, which give you more ships and bases, similar to the stuff that's in here, but just more variety.
Okay.
And then we've got 2 packs which contain new card types. We've got the events pack, which contains special event cards. When you buy a card and a new card comes out under the trade row, if an event comes out, it does something that affects everybody, and then it goes away. So these add a big random element to the game. Crazy stuff can happen at any time.
Right.
For some players, that is the most fun thing ever. For other players, they don't like the random. So if you like that sort of thing, grab the pack. If you don't, just leave it out.
Exactly.
And then we have Heroes, which these are character cards. They work a little bit differently than other cards in the game. When you buy them, they go directly into play on your side of the table. They don't do anything. They sit there and wait for you to use them. When you use a hero, you scrap it, so you remove it from the game, and it will give you a faction ally for that turn, and it'll give you a special ability based on the card type. So let's say you've got a one-off awesome card in your deck, like maybe you've got like a blob carrier, and you'd love to be able to activate that ally ability. If a blob character comes up in the trade row, you can snatch him up and wait, and then cash him in when you draw your carrier.
Right.
Or if you need to, you can use him right away for that effect.
And these characters are very inexpensive to buy in game, also, right?
Yeah, they're very cheap. They cost 1 or 2, so they tend not to clog up the trade row. Someone's going to snatch them up when they've got some spare change, because they all have useful abilities.
Exactly.
But if you've got the right cards in your deck, the fact that they trigger your allies can be absolutely huge.
Yes.
Again, you can, if you like that card type, great. Get the Heroes expansion. If you don't, you can just leave it out, and you can play with just the types of cards that you like in your game. If people want to play with other cards, make them buy their own game.
Exactly.
And then we have coming out very soon, next month in stores, is the Gambit set. Now this is something that's been in limited release previously. It was a Kickstarter reward, and we've had it at some conventions, and we've also had it as a prize for store owners when they were running tournaments. This was the 2nd place prize for a while on that. But now we're making it widely available, so you'll be able to go down to the store and buy the Gambit set. This contains Gambit cards, which are special ability cards that you can use during the course of the game. You deal them out to players at the beginning of the game, and you know which Gambits you have, but your opponent doesn't. You can reveal them either at the beginning of the game or on any of your turns. Some of them give you static abilities, like Frontier Fleet gives you +1 combat every single turn. And others will give you a scrap ability that's very powerful, like maybe it lets you draw cards or get a bunch of combat, or has various effects.
Cool.
So one of the neat things about the Gambit set is it's an expansion which has immediate impact on the game. Like if you, with some of the other expansions, like you buy the fleets and fortresses or bases and battleships, you put it in with your deck. Some games you'll draw those cards, and some games you won't. And but with the Gambits, you get those Gambits in play right in the beginning of the game, so the game feels different from turn one. You can also use them as a play balance factor. If you have a friend who's not as good as you at the game, you can give them an extra Gambit or two to even things out. So those are a lot of fun. It also comes with a few ships. The Mercenary Cruiser, which is a factionless ship. Play it, it gives you 5 combat, and you can name a faction. It counts as a card of that faction for that turn, so it helps you ally trigger. And there's also challenge cards, so you can play solo or cooperative against the game itself. So, and there's rules on the back of the challenge cards on exactly how they function. So
very cool. Yeah, it sounds like you guys put quite a bit into that one. I have seen those cards before, and that was going to be one of my questions if you'd included the solitaire aspect of the Gambit set, but it sounds like everything's in there. That's great.
And we have the Gambit set on digital now. That one contains not only the cards that are in here, but the digital version also contains the year one promo cards. You can go to a store and play in an event there. We provide game day packs and tournament kits that stores can order from their distributor.
Okay.
And these contain some new ships and base cards, and they're not found in any of the packs. So the way you get them is to go to a store and play in the events. If you can't make it to one of these events, then never fear. If you wait till next year, we'll take all the promo cards from this year, put them in a pack, and you'll be able to buy the entire set. So stores get them early as an incentive for people to come there, but everybody will be able to get them down the road. So the digital version has those plus all the cards in here we talked about. So
sounds good. So these are all available now. These four are available right now, and the base game.
And this is next month.
Okay, good. Now, what's the retail price on that one?
So this one's $9.99. These are $4.99, and the base game is $14.99.
Sounds good. So what's next for you guys? Anything else you can tell me about in the future for White Wizard?
On the Star Realm side of things, we are currently working on the next box set. So every year we're going to come out with a deck like this, which will contain explorers and the starting decks for people, but the trade deck will be all new. So you'll be able to take that deck and play it as a completely separate Star Realms game, and you get to play with new ships and bases.
Okay.
Or you can mix it in with your existing Star Realms collection and increase the variety that you have.
So you guys are keeping the same factions?
Yes, same factions. So you'll see the same factions, the 4 factions plus the occasional unaligned ships or bases. So same factions will continue in the game, but we will create new cards and new mechanics that go with those factions. And each faction will continue to have a personality, things that they're good at, which the other factions aren't. So we have that coming. We're working on the second Gambit set, which has a whole bunch of fun new Gambits in it.
Okay.
And then and then down the road we'll have some more packs to add to the game. So each year you can look for a similar lineup of game in a box plus packs, and everything will be playable on each box will be playable on its own, but everything will be cross-compatible if you want to mix it all together or customize your own set.
Sure.
And of course, it's a deck-building game, so it doesn't matter if you have more stuff. No one gets an advantage. Everybody's playing off the same pile of cards.
You guys also have something else that, correct me if I'm wrong here, that you've talked about coming up that's kind of epic.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes, we do. So we have a new game coming out, which we've just revealed here at the GAMA Trade Show for the first time. We've hinted a little bit about it before, but it is a card game, and it's called Epic, and it plays like a trading card game, but it comes in a box like Star Realms. So basically, you're gonna for $15, you'll get a 128 card deck. It will contain 120 cards for playing the game with, and it'll come with 8 token cards, because sometimes you'll play a card and it'll give you some zombies or humans that will fight for you. And the deck is non-random. You know exactly which cards you're getting, and it's also those 120 cards. Every single one is different. So different artwork, and the artwork's beautiful, and different play mechanics on every single card. And what you can do with this collection is you can play sealed deck with it, where you shuffle up and deal out 30 cards to each player, and that is that player's personal deck, and they are, and then they'll be playing champions, which are like monsters that fight for you, and playing events events which do powerful things to the game. You'll be attacking your opponent, trying to reduce their score. You started a score of 30, you're trying to get your opponent down to 0, and the game is played with an action system. So on your turn, every player gets an action, and some cards cost an action and some cards are free. So what this allows us to do is have the trading card game style play where you have monsters and you're attacking your opponent and you're reducing their score, but there isn't the resource limitation where you need resources to play your cards, and there isn't the ramping that resource systems create where some cards are meant for the early game, some cards are meant for the mid game, some cards are meant for the late game. Here, the game starts full throttle. If there's a card you can play on turn 10, you can also play it on turn 1, and so you get a ton of play out of each card, because instead of having to make a generic champion, it costs 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6 up the curve. Instead, we just are designing the high-end, super powerful effects that cost an action, or the smaller, more subtle effects that are free. You can play sealed deck, you can play draft, you can play pre-constructed by separating out the colors. The game comes with 4 colors, just like Star Realms. Just like Star Realms, you can play any card you want. There's no restrictions, but if you can match up your colors, you'll get bonuses.
So is the game out of the box for 2 players or more than 2?
4 players out of the box. So basically, when you play, you have a 30-card deck. The game will come with 120 play cards. So you can do 4 players where everybody gets exactly 30. So you can do that by drafting. You can do it by sealed, shuffle, and deal out 30.
Sure.
You can just separate out the colors and be like, you take all the evil cards, I'll take all the good cards. He gets all the wild cards. He gets all the sage cards. And so there's a variety of different ways you can play there. And just like Star Realms, if you want to expand your experience, you can just simply buy more decks.
Okay.
So if you buy a second deck, you can go up to 8 players in the same style. Or if you buy 3 decks, you can sort of customize your collection. So we have little symbols on the card to indicate rarity. So, but you get 1 of every card. It's not like they're actually rare to acquire. We just have a suggestion that when you for building a draft set for up to 8 people, you take 3 decks, you put all the commons in, so you have 3 of each of the commons, and then you just take 1 set of each of the rares, put those in and set the other ones aside, and that way some cards are coming up more frequently and some cards are coming up less frequently, so it'll be exciting to, if somebody plays a rare card, you're like, okay, that's the only one of that, you know.
Got it.
So basically what we're trying to do is capture that awesome trading card game play experience without the incredible price tag of those plays.
So when's that coming out?
That's going to be this fall. Fall or early Christmas season is our target.
Okay, sounds good. Excellent. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. And thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you soon.